Welcome all to the inaugural Alkandros International Trading Podcast. My name is Konstantin Alkandros. I will be your host both today and in future podcasts. In this initial podcast, I will be covering what we do, how we do it, our future goals, how we aim to get them, how we aim to achieve those goals. My plan will be with these future podcasts, will be to divide them in two different. There'll be two types of podcasts for this subject. One will be educational, where I will be educating you on subjects related to international trade, finance, banking, negotiation, sales, products that we deal with, things like that. The second will be just an informative podcast about what's happening in the world of international trade. We'll be looking at sort of how price fluctuations of different products, things of that nature. I will attempt to do one of each of those podcasts per day. At this point, this is a new thing I'm doing, so it may be a little bit inconsistent to start with. So just bear with me if I apologize if I'm not consistent to start with, but that's what I will aim to be doing, one podcast a day for each of those subjects. Maybe more if I take if I feel inclined to do more. I would just like to preface by saying I apologize if I sound rather monotone and dull and a bit unsure of myself. I'm doing this podcast completely spontaneously. I have no notes and no prompts. I want this podcast to be a conversation, not a boring lecture. So I just bear with me if I may seem a bit unsure of myself, or there might be long pauses in this podcast and in some of the first podcasts I do. So let's move on to a little bit about who we are. We are Alkandros International Trading. Fundamentally, we're an international trading company, but we're more than just an international trading company. We do a variety of different things. We're involved we do a number of things. We do import-export. And we do that in the form of a broker, consultant, salesperson, independent salesperson, that sort of thing. We provide consulting services. Mind you, they're not paid, but something that we do is we do consult with people, buyers and sellers in the marketplace. So that's one thing that we do. So we are consultants, as well as salespeople, brokers, intermediaries. We do deal with some products directly, so we do facilitate directly with the trade of products between buyers and sellers. Between us and the buyers. Just trying to think what else we are involved in. Primarily, that's really what we do. We're brokers. We help facilitate deals to happen, where we supply people products that they want, which we have. So we do both. We started off as brokers, but now we supply as well. So fundamentally, that's what we do. We are based in Adelaide, South Australia. So we supply our product from both Australia and other places as well. So we have a global network of associates, both buyers and sellers, who we work with as well. I was going to say something, but I think I'll say that I think that'll belong in another subject, in another podcast. So kind of fundamentally, that's what we are, who we are, what we do. We started this business back in October 2017 is when I started this business with a partner of mine by the name of Paul Berger, who's a very good man, a very intelligent man, who's a PhD graduate and in communications, and someone who I've learned a lot from. He's been a great mentor and someone who has done a lot for me in my life. So I'm glad I met him. He got me started in this business, and I've enjoyed it, both the ups and the downs. That's another subject for another time. I would also like to apologize. Sometimes I do go off down other tangents, so I may not always stay on topic. I don't think it's a bad thing to go off on tangents. I think it's good. Sometimes you learn things by going off into the woods. But I just want to apologize if perhaps that might annoy some of you. But please bear with me. I always return back to the main subject. Anyhow, that's sort of a bit about the company, how it was started. So we've been going now for over 2 years. I should maybe mention something about myself in regards to the company. I started this business because I was couldn't quite find what I was wanting to do with myself in terms of a career in a business. And when I met Paul, this sort of business really attracted me for a number of reasons. Number one, it is a business that you work at your own pace, in your own time. You're your own businessman, and you can choose who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with. The downside is it is a commission business, but that downside is not necessarily a downside, because there's an upside to that one, which is that you can make a hell of a lot of money in this business if you can close deals. So it is a people business, and that's why I got into it, basically. So it's lucrative, and I can do it at my own pace in my own time, and I'm my own man. I've never been a fan of the 9 to 5. I don't like generally working for other people. I'm a loner. Don't get me wrong, I'm not doing this podcast from Barrow, Alaska, so I'm not that much of a hermit. I do have friends, and I do live in civilization, but that's what I do. That's what I got. That's what got me interested in this business. Some of the products that we do deal with, I can give you a general rundown of that. We deal primarily in gold, both doré and bullion, scrap metal, both copper and aluminium scrap. We deal with a variety of different meats and agricultural products like corn, sugar, soybeans, etc., that sort of thing. I could probably give you a sort of a more detailed overview of that, but I guess just for the sake of this podcast, we'll keep it short. We do have, I should probably cover some of our goals. Some of our goals, of course, are to make money and use that money to either invest in our financial division, which is Alkandros Capital Management, or to finance other ventures. So basically, fundamentally, our goal is to make money, and that's really about it. And to also, I guess, in that same way, help supply people with products they need, and provide, a good sales, a good sales experience. If you want to use the corporate, if you want to sound corporate. I'm pretty blunt. I just want to make money. That's really what it comes down to. We do have a Facebook, and so we do have a social media presence. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The podcast will be on. Just before I get to the podcast, so if you type in Alkandros International Trading or Alkandros International, you will find us on those platforms. We do post daily about products we have available for sale, or at least or sellers that we're associated with who have products for sale, or report news, that sort of thing. The podcast you will be able to find on Facebook, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Twitch is still a little bit of work in progress, but Facebook, you'll be able to find the podcast on Facebook and YouTube. On YouTube, it will be under my personal name, Konstantin Alkandros, and at this point I'm not quite sure whether I'll make a separate company account on YouTube or whether I'll just post it through my personal. Anyway, currently you'll be able to find it on my personal account. I'll just give you a run through of the Facebook page, as you can see. So this is the Facebook page. I might just go into our objective there. So that's kind of our objective there. I made that picture of the trireme. I thought I quite liked the idea of a trireme. Probably should use a more modern ship, but I just felt like a trireme. So these are some of the products. As you can see, sugar, right now sugar is something that I'm posting a fair amount of. That is available. Some old videos here. Yeah, so we got posts over here coming up. Those groups about. Let me also show you the about page. So, sort of a general look at the Facebook page. I won't bother with the Instagram page. It's, you can see that for yourself. Facebook sort of tends to be the point of contact for most people. Although I do get a fair amount on Instagram, but yeah, I'll just show you the Facebook page for the purpose of this podcast. I think that's probably it for today regarding what we do, who we are, our goals, that sort of thing. I will like to say that for our next podcast, I haven't quite decided yet regarding the educational, what the first educational topic will be. Likely I might just give a general rundown of the products we deal with and maybe go through some of the specs maybe, or I might just pick one product and go into it in depth. So I can't give you an idea on what that subject will be. Our informative subject, our informative podcast. I think what I'll do is give a general rundown of the products we deal with in depth as a starter. So and maybe add a few other things to that. So be on the lookout. So have your eyes and ears, sort of glued, maybe not glued, but be aware that there will be some more podcasts coming on our Facebook and Instagram page. I don't think there's much more I can add to the podcast for today. I think we've pretty much covered, or I pretty much covered what I wanted to in this podcast. So on behalf of Alkandros International Trading and Konstantin Kai Alkandros, I'd like to say thank you for listening, and be ready to listen to us in the future. Over and out.